I'm gonna come in here and try and get some broccoli out of the late season patch. This stuff is really beautiful. It's not all on yet, which is good. So we're just kind of spot picking here and there. It's like picture perfect. This like 60-degree rainy weather is what these cole crops absolutely love. This is gonna really make them take off, which is good because we really gotta start picking the cabbage. We're out in our mid-season, which is up above, and this isn't on yet. So hopefully it's gonna push it to the point where we can start picking. These are a little bit small yet. So that's really all I could get. It's still even a baby bit young, but it's beautiful. A good problem to have is having muddy boots when you get out of the field. Haven't had this in a long time. Caked on there. I got back to the shed and started loading my truck for the farm market back home here. While I was doing that, the guys are in the process of picking a bunch of peppers. Here's the red and green bell. Still just as nice as ever, and they should only get better now just because we got some more rain. And then over here in the back of the truck is the load. I'm not quite finished yet, but it's just about done. I gotta get some garlic and one other thing, I think so anyway. Got dill, sweet corn, broccoli in the back, onions, potatoes, orange bell, Lebanese, pickles, zucchini, spaghetti squash, and 1 bag of 50-pound white potatoes. Dirty, not washed. So I just got out here to the farm market and got unloaded. Still need some more stuff I'm gonna bring out later, but it looks pretty good for the most part. In the front here we have white and red potatoes. We need jalapenos, which I'm gonna bring out. We need a couple more bananas, cherry, long hots. Over here is green bell, Italian, Cuban. We need more yellow bell. We need more red bell. Cucumbers, pickles. Up front here is all of the fresh bread we get from a local bakery. On this side is tomatoes, Lebanese, zucchini, eggplant, which we need more of, small 10-pound bags of potatoes, red and white, and then yams, or I call them sweet potatoes. Over here, both of these should be filled with cantaloupe, so we're gonna need to bring out a lot more of those, along with more cabbage, which I already said how we're running low on. This is the sweet corn that I picked this morning. Have it here for display. 1 head of purple cauliflower, and then some 2 quarts of pimento and red bell. Over here is the broccoli that I got, and then kohlrabi. Over here we have kale, a couple nectarines, and apples. Along the back side here is onions, yellow, white, red, garlic, and then over here is where we have oranges, lemons, limes, and bananas, which I think they should be coming in today. Here's some fresh dill. Dad is loading up the soda cooler right now with all sorts of different varieties. You can see all the empty spots. Over here is all of the fresh cider that we get in for the season, then milks. Up there's tea and pickles, strawberries, raspberries. Around the side here, Mom is in the process of baking. She just pulled out some fresh muffins, pistachio, cranberry. Is that cranberry?
Yeah, there's cranberry in there.
Chocolate chip. Right now, what are you making now?
Black bottom and just chocolate.
They're about to go in the oven. She's got peach, chocolate chip, cranberry, blueberry, pistachio, coffee cake, and butter rum over here. And then out front, as you've seen in my other videos, is our whole fall display, which is large orange pumpkins, white pumpkins, small sugar pumpkins, corn stalks over there, bagged corn. Here's stackers, which we're gonna be getting more of today, hopefully, because that bin's getting low. More large pumpkins. Over here we have the blue and the orange Hubbard. In the back is butternut, acorn, spaghetti squash, and then in the front is all of the ornamentals, which again are low. We need to fill them up. Over here is more large pumpkins. And then off to the side is our mums, which again, now that the weekend has passed, we kind of do a lot of our ordering. We're gonna have to order more mums in. We only have 3 of the large grasses, which is only the yellows left. We're getting kind of low here on the celosia. Definitely need more tricolored mums. Over here we have white, which are almost in full blossom. They're beautiful. They're actually one of my favorites. Back in the back is the asters. Here's like the maroon mums with the yellow centers. Then we have yellow, purple here, and like this rust color, which this is always our slowest seller every year, but there is customers that really want it, so we always order them in just so we have. Then out front, which you've seen before, is our zinnia patch. I've seen actually more people than ever this past weekend out here cutting these just to enjoy in their own home. You can see the cut marks there. Here's another one. Here's a bunch here and here and there. There's obviously some that are dying, but there's still quite a few that are beautiful. Like that's about as nice as it gets right there. In the center, we had the wind blow a lot of them down, so they're not quite as nice in there, but you know, it is getting to be fall now. Before you know it, frost is gonna be hitting them and they're gonna go down anyway, so not gonna have them to enjoy for much longer. You can cut these 10 for $5. That was a new sign we made this year, and it actually went very well. And so yeah, that's it. That's the farm market. I'm gonna head home now and see what the guys are up to. So now after getting back home from the market, Eric and I came up to the mid-season cold crops. We wanted to try and get some cabbage, but as you can see, we have picked basically all of the round. There's just a head here and there. Like right there's a nice one. We're gonna try and get some Savoy, which we know we have quite a few of over there, and then that's probably gonna be about it. We didn't even bring a bin today. All we brought was some crates just because we knew we couldn't fill it.
Nice broccoli.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So now we're down here in the broccoli. Again, for the second time. But now I'm getting for the Scranton Farmers Market instead of for the home farm market. Out here in the middle of the field, it's still like the same size, but we want to keep ahead of it so it doesn't get too mature. And then last but not least is gonna be kohlrabi before lunch. I'm used to picking this when it being so dry and the dirt's like powdery. Now it's like sticking to everything. This is like ideal size right here. Clip that root ball off, a couple of lower leaves, and then that's how it'll be sold right there. So this is everything we got. And then here is all of the peppers. Last thing the guys brought in was the cherry, jalapeno, and I think that banana. So it's after lunch. I just got down here into the high tunnel. This is the lower one of the two that we have. It's a lot smaller. There's only 4 rows instead of 6. And I'm gonna see what I can find in tomatoes. And I'm wearing gloves to protect them. So I know Mom has been going through here quite a bit. I still see some red, but I don't expect to get a lot. But basically, if it's red and it's any what good, I'm picking it. I might as well start right here in the beginning. Pink, red, orange, whatever it is, it's going in. These are actually really nice. Just not a lot. I would say the upper high tunnel has more tomatoes on. Something like that I'm not going to put in. Maybe I'll come around with the second box for seconds. But I don't want that to rot the other tomatoes around it if it starts to go bad. I also don't care what size they are. They just have to be nice. A lot of you guys left comments on the video I talked about not wearing gloves or maybe wearing something to protect my hands from these tomatoes, but you've also got to remember when it is like 90 degrees, sometimes even hotter, especially when you're in here, the last thing you want is more clothing on. So sometimes I just deal with the cracking of the hands rather than sweating like crazy. I just cleaned those 2 rows and I got a full box right there sitting in the back of the truck. Now I'm gonna go up these 2, see what I can find. That is like the most perfect tomato right there. I don't know if you can see that. Shape isn't exactly perfect, but as far as a blemish, there's not one. A lot of these are small, but they're perfect. Like, look at that guy. Even that one's small. So I'm just coming up on the end here now. Finishing up my 3rd box. Most of them are really nice. Some are a little small, like I was saying. But we'll still keep picking these for the next probably month. As the nights get cooler and the days get cooler, we'll just keep shutting this thing up and opening it, depending on how hot it is or how much sun's going to be out. But that's the benefit of having a high tunnel rather than just having everything in the field, because once frost comes, everything in the field is done. Like, there's no question about it. Maybe you can go through 2 frosts if it's not real bad, but after you have 2 or 3 frosts, especially if you get a hard frost, they're bad, they're rot. And in here, obviously with it being covered, there's no frost. We can even turn the heat on if we wanted to, which we probably won't. But we'll pick in here weeks and weeks after frost comes, just because we can. Eventually, the tomatoes will really start to slow down with the ripening. So then after we get all the reds and the oranges and the pinks off, we'll go back through and then clean all the green. And then it's time to pull all the plants out of the ground and clean up shop for the year. But like I said, we've still got a lot of tomatoes on in here, and I don't see us stopping anytime soon. And that's what the box looks like right there. Something like this is about as perfect as it gets. Blood red. It's the next day, which is now Thursday. Dad just left for the Wilkes-Barre Farmers Market. We were kind of debating on going just because of the rain, kind of gonna rain off and on all day, or at least that's what the weatherman was calling for. And we also had the guys not come today just because, again, they're kind of traveling a decent distance and we didn't want them to have to go home an hour or 2 after coming. So we decided to keep them home. I'm basically gonna be the only one on the farm until maybe later on when Sammy shows up. She actually did not have to go to the pharmacy today. So that means when she gets her schoolwork done or whatever she needs to do, she can come over here. And so I'm gonna start out like I do every morning, feeding the cows. They love their chop. And Dacey's observing. Right, Dace? I just got up here to the shed. Kind of starting to regret my decision a little bit of not having the guys come, because it's actually kind of lightening up a little bit. Now over there, behind me, it looks dark. So we'll see what happens. I don't want it to really rain because I do have to do some jobs today, but it would make me feel better if it did about not having the guys come. But first thing I gotta do is get mom loaded up at the farm market. And she doesn't need a ton of stuff. Dad loaded her up pretty good yesterday. But one thing I do wanna get is some bags of white potatoes. Now these are gonna be in a 10-pound bag. Nice little cute bag. And we put washed potatoes in here. We don't put any of the real tiny ones in. Like that's about as small as we'll go. Like something like that I wouldn't put in. And I don't even put a lot of those in there. Obviously we make sure they're all nice. And we'll fill it up to obviously 10 pounds and then we'll tie it shut, which I'll show you here in a minute. The nice thing about doing washed potatoes is we can clearly see if there's any kind of bad ones whatsoever. And so it makes the job go a lot faster. When you're bagging dirty ones, sometimes you gotta really look to make sure nothing bad's going in. All right, so we'll weigh this. All right, so that's very close to 10. It's actually a little bit over, but I just wanna make sure it's filled out nice. Well, if you can't close the bag, you gotta take a potato or two out. Boy, I can't close it. That's better. Now let me make sure it's still good. Then we have these wire ties. There's a loop in each end. We'll bend that right around. Take my twister. Pull. Twist. And that's it right there. 10-pound bag completed.